Okay, let's unpack this. It feels like every single time a major budget approaches.
Here we go again.
Right. There's this, incredible pressure on the chancellor to find new revenue.
Mm.
And pensions, being this, well, massive store of wealth and tax relief, they're always the first target.
Always in the crosshairs.
It's dense, it's definitely technical, but that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
To cut through the noise and give you the crucial details you really need to know.
That's right. Our mission today is to do a deep dive into the specific proposals that have been floating around because we've actually seen a bit of a strategic shift.
A shift? How so?
Well, we're looking at the three big areas of speculation. You've got salary sacrifice schemes, limits on tax-free cash, and then the one that always comes up, general pension tax relief.
And what's so fascinating this time is that while some of the, let's say, biggest and most politically explosive proposals seem to be off the table.
For now.
For now, yes.
Yes.
Attention has, dramatically shifted to this super technical, almost surgical mechanism.
Yeah. Salary sacrifice.
Exactly. Salary sacrifice pension schemes. And this seems to be where the Treasury is reportedly going hunting for cash.
Indeed. And to understand the political genius, or maybe cynicism, depending on your point of view, behind this, we have to first really get to grips with why salary sacrifice is such a brilliant tool.
And why the government might be looking at it right now.
Precisely.
So let's define it clearly. What exactly is salary sacrifice, or SS? Because it's been around for a while, I think most people associate it with things like the cycle to work scheme.
Yeah, that's a common one.
But its use in pensions has become, well, one of the most powerful tax perks out there.
At its core, it's a really elegant agreement. The employee, you, voluntarily agrees to give up a defined chunk of your gross salary.
So that's the key. You're paid before any taxes are taken.
That's the crucial part. And in exchange, you get a non-cash benefit. For pensions, that benefit is your employer making an equivalent, or sometimes even a larger, contribution straight into your pension pot.
Okay, and this is where the magic happens, right? The tax optimization part. Why is sacrificing salary so much more efficient than if I just took my taxed income and made a regular contribution myself?
It all boils down to one thing: national insurance, or NI.
Ah.
Because that money is sacrificed, before income tax and NI are even calculated, it comes straight out of your gross pay. So you get the income tax relief, sure, but crucially, you trigger a double NI saving.
A double saving.
Yes. The employee doesn't pay their share of NI on that amount, and the employer doesn't pay their share of employer's NI on it either.
Wow. Okay, so that double saving is the real advantage they're trying to preserve.
It is. And, we often see employers pass some of their NI savings back into the workers' pension pot.
Which means your take-home pay can actually be higher than if you contributed the same amount from your tax pay.
It's a genuine win-win. It really is.
Absolutely. And this, I guess, raises an important question. Why is this so popular with higher earners? Our sources point to a specific ha-ha moment for parents earning over, the 60,000 pound mark?
Yes, this is a really important detail. If you are subject to the child benefit high income charge, using salary sacrifice is an incredibly effective tool.
How so?
By diverting that money into your pension, you reduce what's called your adjusted net income. This allows you to keep more of that child benefit.
You could be saving thousands in tax penalties every year then.
Potentially, yes. It's a structural advantage, and you can see why that's being targeted.
That detail really crystallizes the value of the whole scheme. So this incredibly efficient mechanism is being used by millions, and that very popularity has now caught the government's eye.
Precisely. They're looking for revenue, and this looks like a pot of gold. They're reportedly looking to restrict the tax benefits tied to this exact scenario.
And the proposal isn't an outright ban, which I imagine would cause just total chaos for HR departments everywhere.
Oh, complete administrative chaos.
Instead, it's a much more surgical cap, and it seems designed specifically to claw back those NI savings. I saw Charlene Young at AJ Bell detailed the specific option on the table.
That's right. What's being discussed is a 2,000-pound cap.
A 2,000 pound.
A 2,000-pound cap on the amount of earnings that can be exchanged for pension contributions that, and this is the key bit, benefit from that national insurance exemption.
So just to be clear, they aren't saying you can't contribute more.
No, not at all. They're just saying that the massive NI saving only applies to the first 2,000 pounds you sacrifice each year.
Okay, let's just pause on that number for a second. 2,000 pounds sounds kind of small, but the whole point of this scheme was the efficiency, wasn't it?
It was.
So if they take away that tax advantage on contributions above that cap, what does this surgical strike actually feel like in your average worker's paycheck?
It feels like a genuine financial hit. Our sources suggest that introducing this cap could raise up to £2 billion a year for the Treasury.
2 billion, that's a serious number.
It is. And to break down the cost for an individual, let's take someone earning £55,000 a year. They contribute 10%, which is £5,500 through salary sacrifice. If this £2,000 cap comes in, any contributions above that level lose the NI benefit.
So for them, that's £3,500 of their contribution that's suddenly less efficient.
Exactly. And that employee would see their take-home pay cut by about £188 a year.
Okay, 188 tons, and that's the employee's immediate loss. But what about the employer?
Well, we also see a significant cost for the employer. They would suddenly have to pay an extra 525 tons in national insurance because that exemption is gone for them, too, above the cap.
It's a double hit. And it feels like it penalizes the employers who are currently the most generous, the ones who are really encouraging this.
That's where the expert backlash comes in. Amanda Blank, the CEO of Aviva, has issued a really sharp warning against this kind of move.
What does she say?
She points out that it penalizes the very employers who contribute more generously, essentially punishing good behavior and the creation of a strong workplace saving culture.
But if the government sees this as, I don't know, a loophole that's costing them billions in NI, why not just ban it outright? Why go for this messy 2,000-pound cap instead of a clean break?
I think it's a calculation of chaos, really. A full cancellation would cause massive operational disruption, a huge political headache.
Right.
The cap is a way to raise substantial revenue, that £2 billion, while preserving the appearance of the scheme and avoiding the huge outcry that a total abolition would cause.
But Blank's second point is more critical, isn't it?
It is. She argues that by removing these financial advantages, you are effectively telling people they perhaps shouldn't save efficiently, which she says is bad news long-term for the UK.
Especially when you hear figures like 15 million people reportedly not saving enough for retirement as it is.
Exactly.
So the calculation for the Chancellor isn't just £2 billion in revenue. It's trading off that immediate cash against the potential erosion of trust in the stability of pension rules.
That is the core tension.
If the government can chip away at NI benefits today, what other highly technical benefit might they target tomorrow?
And it's just the government is prioritizing immediate NI revenue over reinforcing savings incentives for the very people who are already engaging well with their pensions.
Okay, let's transition now. Let's talk about the rumor that initially caused the most alarm bells to ring, particularly for people getting close to retirement.
Yes, the big one.
Slashing the amount of tax-free cash you can take from your pension pot. This was the real high-anxiety topic.
It was indeed, and for good reason. This is one of the most valuable, most understood benefits in the UK pension system.
And the current rules are pretty clear.
Very clear. Once you hit age 55, which we should note is rising to 57 from April 2028, you can usually take up to 25% of your total pension pot as a tax-free lump sum.
And that benefit is currently capped at $268,275.
Correct.
And that lump sum is just so crucial for retirement planning, isn't it? People use that money for everything. Paying off the mortgage, maybe buying a more suitable house for retirement, funding a big life change.
Absolutely. The idea of slashing that benefit was a true political risk. The speculation was fevered that this limit might be severely cut, forcing people to pay tax on money they had been counting on for years.
So what is the official current status we have on this?
Well, the current status update is a massive relief for those planners. According to recent reports, restrictions to tax-free cash are now firmly off the table for this budget.
Firmly off the table.
Helen Morrissey of Hargreaves Lansdowne said this move will be greeted with a huge sigh of relief. It seems they calculated that the political damage and the sheer complexity of changing such a fundamental rule just wasn't worth the revenue.
That is definitely a political bullet dodged. And it helps frame why they're now focusing so hard on those surgical strikes against salary sacrifice. By avoiding this massive political fight, they make the relatively technical 2,000-pound cap seem minor by comparison.
It's a classic political maneuver.
Now, let's talk briefly about the rumor that comes up pretty much every single year, regardless of who was in charge.
The hardy perennial.
Changes to overall pension tax relief.
Pension tax relief, or PTR. This is the mechanism that defines why saving into a pension is so good in the first place. It's the government top-up.
Right.
When you pay into a pension, the government essentially boosts your savings by adding money equivalent to the income tax you would have paid on those earnings.
So for a basic rate taxpayer, that's a 20% boost.
A 20% boost. And for higher and additional rate taxpayers, those paying 40% or 45%, they get even more relief back.
This is a huge incentive, but it's also why it's always targeted. What's the total price tag on that relief?
It is staggering. Tax relief on pension contributions is estimated to cost the government anywhere from 50 billion to more than 60 billions a year.
50 to 60 billion. With a V.
With a B, that sheer volume of money makes it an irresistible political target every single time revenue needs to be raised.
But despite that massive cost and the perpetual rumors about clamping down on it, especially making it less generous to higher earners, it seems like overall PTR changes are not the current frontrunner for this specific budget.
That's the consensus.
Why is that? Is the mechanism just too complex to dismantle quickly?
That's a big part of it. Restructuring PTR would be enormously complex. It would require a complete overhaul of workplace schemes. So while it remains a potential target for future budgets, for now, the path of least resistance and fastest revenue was found in that surgical attack on the NI exemption via the salary sacrifice cap.
So if we synthesize everything we've discussed, the key insight here is that the battleground for raising revenue through pension changes has moved. It's shifted away from the big, easily understood incentives like tax-free cash or the overall structure of tax relief.
Exactly. Instead, the focus is now on these highly technical mechanisms that relate to NI savings and employer contribution habits like that proposed £2,000 cap on salary sacrifice.
It's a way to raise significant revenue, that £2 billion figure, without triggering the massive political chaos that slashing tax-free cash would have caused.
It's a very nuanced attack on the most tax-efficient incentives, the ones used by both high earners and, importantly, their generous employers.
The big takeaway, then, is that the Chancellor seems to be choosing stability over scandal by targeting this technical mechanism. But, for you, the saver, the question remains, if the government keeps chipping away at the reward for good, efficient saving habits, are we truly addressing the UK's long-term retirement crisis? Or are we simply eroding trust in the very schemes designed to fix it?
Something to mull over as we watch for those final budget announcements.